So a tool that's really nice to have while you're working, especially with rigging, but also for animation, is just a quick way to get your rig back to 000. So or defaults in your rig. So here I just have a really simple leg setup, and often when I'm working, and painting weights and things like that, I will move the character around, put him in a position to test out the weights and stuff like that, and then I'll just want him to go back to 000. Often people will key that, but sometimes you forget the keys on there and it'll kind of bite you later on. But I was recently working on another system and I couldn't use my own custom tools. And this was one of those tools I didn't think much of because I figured it was fine. It's a very simple tool. In any case, Maya does have a setup, or a tool, I should say, under Modify Reset Transformations. I'm going to open that up. And before I show what happens, I'll just show you how it works. So I'm going to take a cone here, and I'm going to take this and move it out here, do like that with it. And let's say I wanted to put that back to 0 where it came from, or let's pretend it's a control. I'll hit apply, it goes back to where it came from. It's great. I can, take that out. I'm going to delete its history real quick. But let's say I'm working with it, and I could, say I have a whole bunch of these guys. Well, that was weird. There we go. We'll do that, right? And let's say only some of them have been frozen, and we run the tool. We can see which ones haven't been frozen, so we can go back in and fix those later. Oh, or maybe we never want them frozen. I don't know. In any case, it doesn't have a whole lot of options. It's translate, rotate, scale. One of the things that you want to watch out for, and this is something I just learned, is that it actually sets your pivot back to 000 as well. So it can be really dangerous to use this on a rig because pivots for your rigs, you want them to be where they are. And the rigger or the character TD may have put them in a particular place. So I don't want my pivot to be there. I want it to be back where it was before, but now it's also no longer aligned. So I got to realign it. So I find that really weird. Another thing I found with the tool, and I'll just show you what I have here. I have a bunch of cubes here that are just parented up to each other. Let me get back to our normal move tool there. Cool. And I haven't frozen any of the values on here. And I found something, this is how I discovered what was going on. If I do a modify reset transformations, you notice that so I have the purple, or that's a blue cube selected. There's an orange and a green, and I run it. I notice that my orange and my green also get their transformations set to 00011, which is not what I'd expect. I'd actually just expect just the one cube that I had to actually be set, not all of them. So a way around that is you can lock your values, and that'll keep them from being changed, but that seems like overkill for something so simple. For instance, if I select just the base object, or the what do you call the top of the hierarchy, it sets all of them back to 00011. I would not expect that. If I take this guy and move it over like that, and I run the tool that I have, which all it does is set those translations and rotations, it goes back to where it should expect. Oh, you know what? Let's try something else here. Okay, so yeah, it's just so weird to me. I don't know why you'd ever want it to run on the entire hierarchy. And I'll show you one more danger to that, because often, like I said, I use it for rigging. So in this instance, I can run my own tool. It'll put it where I want. Let's say I want to have, some rotation on the ball of the foot here. If I run it, it's only going to run it on the control that I have selected, not all the hierarchy of the controls. So let's go back up in here and lift that foot up, and I'll select the top control and run reset transforms, and look what it's done to my rig. It's basically folded it all up, and I have my pole vector way out here for some reason. And the reason for that, and this is something very common in my rigging, is that each of these controls has a group above it to give it an offset, right? And the character TD isn't always going to go and lock that. I know I don't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, because I don't expect things like this to happen, but now I will. So if I select this object here, the main foot control, and I zero it using my tools, which is just setting values and nothing else, it works as I expected, puts it back to where it came from. If I run the other one, it's actually going to do it on every single object in here, and that can be super dangerous. I would never do that. So I guess the way of thought here is that it's somehow, I don't know, maybe it's just a modeling tool. I don't know. So one thing you may want to do as a character TD is to make sure that you lock all these values so that when you run it, oh, I guess I missed one or two. Let's see here. That's not locked. That needs to be locked. And my pull vector, yep, that also needs to be locked. I mean, it's probably good practice to lock those groups, but like I said, a lot of people don't. A lot of people just move them to where they need to be and forget about them, and that should be fine. But let's see if I got them. No, something's weird. Yeah, I don't even know what's getting moved. Something that should get moved. But like I said, you know, I can make this tool available, which is all it does. It's a simple loop. Sets all your translates rotates 0, sets your scale to 1. It couldn't be easier. So I would just be careful of this reset transforms tool and just be aware that it's going to do the entire hierarchy of your selection, as well as it's going to you know, change your pivots as well. Just to show that, I'm going to show my pivots here. Actually, let me do that again. I'll create a new cube, put it over here, freeze it, delete its history, and when I run this, my pivot, oops, the whole point of this was to show the pivots. There we go. And then when I run this, you know, so pivots all get zeroed out as well. So that may not be as desirable as well. And then you have to go and reorient your pivot, and if that happens, to get it back to where it came from. So yeah, I think I would stay away from reset transformations and just use something simple instead. All right, I hope that helps.